No. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Mr. Titi Antonio, the Foreign Minister of Angola, the current President of the African Union, honorable ministers, heads of delegations, representatives of the African Union and the regional African organizations. Dear African sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I'd like to welcome His Excellency Minister Sergei Lavrov of the Russian Federation, the co-chair of this conference, and I'd like also to welcome my sisters and brothers, the honorable ministers and heads of delegations of the African nations, as well as the representatives of the African Union Commission and the regional economic communities present today. Our meeting today is an opportunity to exchange ideas on many opportunities and challenges that present themselves in the path of our common endeavor to deepen the African-Russian relations. Allow me to read out the opening statement on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt. Mr. Sergei Lavrov, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Mr. Titi Antonio, the Foreign Minister of Angola, the President of the African Union Commission, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'd like to convey to you the regards and salutations of the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt and his welcome of the guests of Egypt and the ministers of foreign affairs and representatives of regional economic communities of Africa. I'd like to welcome all of you to your second homeland, Egypt. Egypt is proud of the Russian-African partnership that was inaugurated during the presidency of Egypt of the African Union in 2019 when it held its first summit in Sochi with His Excellency President Vladimir Putin. This ministerial meeting is a culmination of the development of the Russian-African relations, and it is also a continuation of the momentum created by the two previous summits in Sochi, 2019, and St. Petersburg in 2023. This meeting is also a practical step towards the implementation of the action plan of the Partnership Forum 2023-2026. This is also an occasion to launch a constructive dialogue on the next action plan for the years 2026-2029 that will be adopted in the third Russian-African Summit in the service of the peoples of Africa and Russia, and in order to achieve development and stability in the African continent. Distinguished participants, our common commitment to build a more just global order is a reflection of the aspiration of our peoples towards a world where the principle of equal sovereignty prevails, and it is also an expression of respect to the right of self-determination of peoples in line with the resolutions of the United Nations and the Security Council and the General Assembly of the United Nations. And Egypt affirms that the reform of the global order should be based on the principles of justice and balance. And it should also be based on international institutions that represent the multiplicity and pluralism of the international order, not the imbalances of the past. Africa has a economic and political and demographic weight. This weight should be present and represented in the drafting of these major international resolutions and in the international financing structures, as well as in the efforts to reform the Security Council in line with the Isolini consensus and the Third Summit. Honorable ministers, distinguished participants, the continued political dialogue between the regional countries and their partners, chiefly among which is the Russian Federation, is the bedrock to build confidence and to arrive at common visions in the face of issues of common interest. Therefore, Egypt views that the African-Russian cooperation as a main platform to support and advance the common goals on the agenda of the African Union 2063, the Africa we want. We seek to fully operationalize the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to further the efforts of regional integration and socio-economic development for the peoples of the continent in line with their national priorities and aloof from any external diktats. Egypt affirms as it assumes its pioneering roles of reconstruction post-conflict, and as president of the African Reconstruction Center and as president of the Committee of NEPAD and as the host of the African Space Station and the Nile Center of Excellence on Climate Resilience. Egypt affirms that the funding and financing of the African Union agenda should be furthered in order to meet the aspirations of the African peoples and to achieve the sustainable peace and security in cooperation with the regional and international partners, chiefly among which the Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt is following up with great interest, the increasing threat of armed conflicts and in the African continent and around it. These conflicts have a direct impact on the stability of the continent and its economic development. Egypt stresses the importance of the peaceful resolution of conflicts and its rejection of external interferences that exacerbate rather than resolve disputes. Egypt also affirms the organic link between peace and security on the one hand and development on the other hand. Egypt also supports and calls for the implementation of the Security Council Resolution 2719 on the financing of the African peacekeeping missions in order to sustain the African efforts to maintain peace and security without any over-reliance on external assistance. Egypt is facing an exacerbating scarcity of water resources used for irrigation and agriculture. And it mainly relies on the Nile as the main lifeline. Therefore, Egypt stresses the importance of strengthening cooperation in the management of transboundary rivers in line with the laws of international law, including the principles of prior notification and doing no harm to the countries to the downstream countries. The Niles and transboundary rivers should be bridges of cooperation between peoples rather than being a subject of conflict and tensions between nations, which we keep affirming in all international arenas. Based on its historical responsibility to the issues of the African continent and in the region, Egypt has played, is playing, and will continue to play an effective role to coming to peaceful resolutions to these regional issues. And this was manifest in the Egyptian role to reach a ceasefire in Gaza. And we affirm our support of the two-state solution based on the resolutions of international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative and the outcomes of the Trump peace plan. And we stress the importance of establishing the Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital based on the borders of 1967. And we also stress the importance of giving all assistance to the Palestinian people and rejects all attempts at unilateral solutions or any attempts to displace the Palestinian people from their land, be it voluntarily or forcibly. Honorable ministers, in conclusion, we will continue to work in common action with the Russian Federation to prepare for the third Russian-African summit, which we hope will be a milestone in the path of this strategic partnership. In Egypt, we believe that the future of this partnership is not only based on common interests, but rather on a common vision for a more prosperous and more secure future for our peoples, a future in which we aim to cooperate with all international partners while consolidating the principles of common and mutual respect, sustainable development, and also regional and international stability in order to advance our common interest. And I wish you all success. Thank you.
أشكركم على حسن الاستماع.
Thank you for listening, and I now give the floor to His Excellency Minister Sergei Lavrov to read out the speech of President Vladimir Putin, the President of the Russian Federation.
Thank you. Excellency, Mr. Minister, Mr. Ability, Mr. Antonio, I'm happy to welcome all those present at the plenary session of the Second Ministerial Conference of Russia-Africa Partnership Forum. At the outset, I would like to express my appreciation to our Egyptian friends that made their utmost to ensure conducive conditions for our work. We thank them for the superb organization of the forum and the traditional hospitality. Allow me to fulfill the noble duty and to read out the address by President Putin to the participants of our ministerial conference. Dear friends, I cordially greet you at the opening of the Second Ministerial Conference of Russia-Africa Partnership Forum. It is emblematic that this event is taking place in Egypt, the country that co-chaired the first Russia-Africa summit. African states have huge economic and human potential. They play an ever more tangible role in global politics. The continent is rapidly rising as one of the most important centers of emerging multipolar world order. The Russian Federation attaches great importance to the development of friendly, fully equal and win-win relations with African partners. It is important that lately we've been able to significantly galvanize constructive interaction on many fronts. Our country provides support to African states in ensuring national security and addressing food issue, in combating terrorism and extremism, overcoming and mitigating natural disasters, and confronting dangerous epidemic diseases. The Ministerial Conference will thoroughly consider the implementation of the Action Plan of Russia-Africa Partnership Forum for 2023-2026. We are also to outline new promising tracks of joint efforts, primarily in trade, economy, investment, where we have significant unlocked potential. I'm confident that discussions at the conference will be meaningful and fruitful. They will allow us to have a substantial set of specific proposals and initiatives to prepare for the next Russia-Africa summit. I wish you success and all the best. Vladimir Putin. Dear colleagues, the leaders of our states pin a lot of hopes for today's meeting. They expect that we'll have constructive solutions, agreed-upon proposals that seek to expand versatile cooperation between Russia and Africa. The format of our today's meeting is relatively new. For the first time, we compared notes at the ministerial level a year ago in Sochi, and today we are to take stock of the joint work that we have done and to analyze the implementation of arrangements that were adopted at the two Russia-Africa summits that took place in 2019 and 2023. Our main task is to fully put into practice the action plan of the Partnership Forum for 2023-2026. I believe that we already have something to present to the public about practical collaboration. We advance humanitarian ties. We pay special attention to training of professionals. They are the driving force of the economic, technological progress of Africa. They are key to sovereign development of states of the continent. Next year, we plan to have the third Russia-Africa summit, and we assume that we need to have a set of specific practical results by that time. Namely, we plan to present to our leaders the draft new 3-year action plan, listing promising areas of our partnership there. I'm confident that today's discussion will allow us to have a meaningful consideration of all these issues. Thank you for your attention.
I would like to thank His Excellency Minister Lavrov for delivering these opening remarks, and I would like now to adjourn the opening session of the conference, and I would like to invite dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, media personnel to leave the hall in order to start the proceedings of the first session of the conference.